Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Fireside Chat. We're lucky enough to have Mary Ellen Vanderventer, our Lake County Recorder of Deeds, back with us again, along with Cynthia Pruim-Haran. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
A little about our ladies that are joining us tonight. Mary Ellen Vanderventer was first elected in 1996. Mary Ellen Vanderventer is serving her sixth term as our Lake County Recorder. 6 terms, a long time, a lot of dedication.
A lot of Lady Claro.
She's the first woman to hold the office of Recorder. Prior to serving as Recorder, she was the Lake County Elections Administrator for 10 years, overseeing 29 local, state, and national elections. They've changed quite a bit now also with all the computer age.
They sure have.
Lake County is the third largest county in the state. Mary Ellen's office records over 150,000 documents annually. During her career as Lake County Recorder, Mary Ellen has worked diligently to modernize her office and streamline procedures for her customers. The newest tool is called Property Check, a service for homeowners to fight against identity theft and mortgage fraud. With a staff of 27, she's expanded office hours to help working families and has a daily cable TV show to inform taxpayers of county services available to them. A leader among her peers, Mary Ellen is recently awarded the 7 Seals Award by the Lake County Veterans Assistance Commission for outstanding leadership and support of men and women in the service of who serve America and the National Guard and Reserves. Thank you. We also have Cynthia, I always butcher your name.
Okay, Pruim-Haran.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
With us tonight. She's the Chief Deputy of the Recorder of Deeds Office for the last 4 years. Cynthia is a licensed attorney and prior to working for Mary Ellen, was an attorney with Lake County Public Defender's Office for 9 years. Before beginning her legal career, Cynthia worked in executive management for Hilton Hotels. She brings her combination of legal knowledge and professional management to the Recorder's office. She's a member of the Lake County Bar Association, where she volunteers for events such as the Lawyers in the Classroom. She is also a member and past board member of the Association of Women's Attorneys of Lake County. Cynthia lives in Round Lake with her husband Mike, a firefighter, and their 3 children, Connor, Claire, and Michael. Cynthia is very active in the community as a board member of the Big Hollow School PTO, Girl Scout leader, and Grand Township Athletic Association baseball coach. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We also have our moderators tonight from the Lake County Clerks. If they were to introduce yourselves, please.
Nancy Steen, Deputy Clerk and Human Resource Manager for the Village around Lake Beach and President of Municipal Clerks.
And I'm Donna Levedo. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer and Village Clerk for the Village of Hawthorne Woods, and I'm also the Treasurer of the Municipal Clerks of Lake County.
Terrific. Well, we're looking forward to another interesting evening. There's our second time together, and I get to turn it over to our clerks to start the evening.
Thank you very much. We'd like to start out by asking you guys to give us an overview of what the Recorder of Deeds Office does, which, believe me, we know is a lot. But if we can maybe share that information and go into what documents are typically found recorded on property and by name.
Okay, well, I'll start and Cynthia will jump in. Thank you for having us. This is one of the best parts of our job because everybody always says, what does the Recorder's office do? It's kind of the best kept secret around. Nobody really knows. So we really enjoy being able to come out and talk about it and educate folks and let everybody know exactly what it is we do. I think the biggest part of our job is every time you buy or sell a piece of property, all of that paperwork comes into our office. So, and those documents date back to 1844. And the recorder was Archimedes Wine Coop, in case anybody's interested in the recorder of 1844. But when you purchase your home or when you sell your home, all of that paperwork comes through our office. So if you are the owner of it today, we have the paperwork for who owned it before you and before them and before them and before them, all the way back to the 1800s. So we like to say we're the keepers of history in terms of all the land in Lake County because it really is fascinating. And we also keep a chain of title on every piece of property in Lake County. So when you've purchased your home and you have all that paperwork and that's all recorded in our office, it stays there to equal what had happened prior and prior and prior and going forward what will happen. So one of the things that we like to really tell everybody when we get a chance to go out and talk to folks is, if you own your home, if your children own their home, your parents, whoever, your best friend, everybody should have a copy of their deed. Now, a lot of people don't, because about 20 years ago and longer, when you closed on your property and the title company did all the work for you, they just kept all that paperwork. They recorded it with us, and then it went right back to the title company. So a lot of people do not have the deed to their home. So that's one of the things that we always suggest, that you look through your safe deposit box, you look through all your important papers, and be sure you have a copy of your deed. We like you to do that when you're happy and healthy and thinking about it, because what happens is, if you haven't really paid attention and there is a death in the family, or you want to transfer property, a lot of times it's just really difficult if you don't have all that paperwork sorted and with you ahead of time. It can be really hard to do when you're grieving and trying to figure all this out and sell a piece of property. So we want everybody to do it while they're, for their New Year's resolution, perhaps everyone could be sure you have a deed. We also like to say that we're not like a bank. When you buy a car, the title to that car stays at the bank until you've paid it all off. We are exactly the opposite. When you purchase your home, all that paperwork comes in and gets recorded, and it's given right back to you. You're the keeper of all that. So you should have all the documents related to your home. You know, it's the biggest purchase that you're ever going to make in your whole life. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you do have to pay attention and do a little due diligence and make sure that you have everything that you really should have when it comes to your home.
I'm going to jump in just since we're talking about deeds and how important it is to have a copy of your deed, because this is something we were talking about a few minutes ago too. Sometimes there are some companies out there that will send citizens, residents, information saying, hey, you probably need a copy of your deed, and if you send us $89, we'll send you a copy of your deed. And it comes in a very official looking envelope. It's usually, one of the company's names is Deed Provider. There's another one out there as well, but one of our clerks here just received one in the mail recently. So you'll get it in the mail, and if you're not paying attention, or if you don't have a copy of your deed already, this piece of mail is so official looking that people will send this company $89, and they will get a copy of their deed. But all you have to do is come to our office and you can get a copy of it for $1. If you're a veteran, you will get a copy of it for free. If you're a senior citizen, we will give you a copy for free. The most troubling thing about this deed scam is that from everything we've looked at and from everything the state's attorneys looked at, there's nothing illegal about what this company is doing. They're providing a service. Now they're charging you $88 for that service on top of the $1 we would charge you, but it's very confusing when certain people get it in the mail, and we'd really like to pass along to you, to the people that are watching, to share with your neighbors and your family members. If you get a piece of mail like that, don't fall for it. You can always just call our office, we'll mail you one, we'll email you one, you can come to Waukegan and we'll hand you one. So it's definitely something to pay attention to. Very recently, Mary Ellen did a short video about this deed scam, and it is on our recorder's website if you want to take a look at it. But please pay attention and share that news out there, because they do get hold of a lot of people who end up in our office saying, I paid $89 already for this. So please be careful.
Now you mentioned that if you're a veteran or a senior citizen, you get it for free.
Mm-hmm.
How old do you have to be a senior citizen? I'm kind of getting up there.
What is it? I think it's 62, isn't it?
We're pretty lenient with it.
But you know, a lot of people don't know that we are also the keeper of all the military paperwork in Lake County. And so if you had served in the military and when you were discharged, you were told or required to file your discharge papers with the recorder of the county that you live in. So we have all, they're commonly called DD-214s. We're the keeper of all those. And we supply those to the veterans free of charge, because having that DD-214 allows you to have an awful lot of benefits that you may or may not know of as you get older. And so if there's any veterans out there that would like their DD-214, just give us a call and we're happy to send that to you. Several years ago, and we'll get to this too, but all of our information is public information. However, years ago, the legislature decided, in their wisdom finally, that the DD-214 is a pretty powerful document, and that needed not to be public information. So that has all been kind of put behind the scenes. We're still the keeper of it, you can still get it. You or a family member, there's quite a few restrictions. You can't just come in and get Sam Jones's DD-214. But we've put a lot of restrictions on those. And if you were to come in and even just look through and page through our computer if you're looking for something, the DD-214s no longer pop up. They're very protected, and that's because, you know, they have your name on there, your address, your social security number back in the day, why you were discharged, perhaps an illness. It had everything for identity theft to become you. And that was one of the reasons that they finally redacted the whole document, which was really, really great. But we work very closely with the Veterans Assistance Commission, and it's really fun to work with all the veterans all around Lake County. They're a great, great group, but a lot of folks don't know that we keep all that paperwork for them.
Always good information to have, yes.
Don't give us a call.
Well, very good. Thank you very much. This next question is for Mayor Hill. Mayor Hill, can you explain the lien process and give an example of what would prompt a municipality to file a lien against a property?
Well, that's not my forte, unfortunately. That's more about handled by staff. I do have some notes here to go off of a little bit, though. Well, your office handles liens, correct?
Right,
Yeah.
so we'll piggyback on whatever you say, because we
Okay.
did want to talk about that too.
Sounds good. Usually liens are filed for a couple of different reasons. We could have either water, sewer, where people have not paid their bills over a long period of time, or normally property maintenance violations. If they are being fined for either not fixing their roof, having junk cars in their driveway, things like that, eventually we will put a lien on the property. It starts out where there's a hearing with the officer, hearing officer that hears the case to see if the property owner is actually liable for the issue at hand, whether it's property maintenance or ordinance violation or whatever it might be. Also, they'll do findings and can be contested within the next 21 days or after 21 days if they decide they want to take it under regular court. Water and sewer balance remains unpaid and the water's turned off for over 6 months. We'll also file a lien, again, so the village gets its money eventually when the house is sold, because we don't want our other residents to have to pay for that water bill if somebody else used the water. And then 20 days after the hearing, the property owner is notified of a lien via certified mail. That way we can prove that we actually notified them. And a lien is filed with the county via e-recording, which I'm sure you can expound on a little bit. And the property that is then flagged as lien on the property. And we don't use them as often. We don't like to use them very often. It's kind of a last resort. We prefer to work with people, do a set up a payment plan, whatever it might be, with code violations. It's all about trying to get compliance. We want people to fix the issue, fix the broken window, fix the shingles that are missing, paint the front of the house. And we'll work with them over months and months and months, and sometimes years if it's that bad of a situation, in order to get the compliance, because that's what we all want. We want our neighbors to look nice, and you come home, you don't want to look at something that's horrid next door to you.
Right. So here's the thing about the lien. If you leave with anything tonight, you're going to leave with making sure you have a deed, a copy of your deed, and calling the recorder's office and asking them to run a quick check on your name. It's January and everybody's making their dentist appointments and their doctor's appointments, and we're getting ready for the new year, and the recorder's office should be on that list. You need to call us and ask us to run a check on your name, because if there's been a lien recorded against your name or your piece of property, you may not know about it. in these examples, I'm guessing that the village notifies the people that it's come to this point and now we have to put a lien on your property. But there's a lot of examples where liens are just placed on people's properties, either properly or in error. And believe me, you don't know about it until you go to make a transaction, whether you're going to sell your home or go refinance or add a name on your deed or take a name off your deed. Whatever you decide to do, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, there's a $5,000 lien on my property, which stops everything immediately. You're not going to get that loan, and you're not going to be able to sell your house until all of this is figured out. So if you just call us, we can run really quickly through your name. Oh yes, you have a deed, you have a mortgage. If you've been lucky enough to pay off your house, you have the release. And oops, it looks like there's a lien on your property too. Did you know about it? Because part of the dilemma is, with some of these liens, you're not required to tell the homeowner. There's no law that says, I'm putting a lien on your home and I will let you know about it. They don't have to let you know about it. Now, they should, and they will, because they want the money. But as time goes on, and maybe you're still arguing about it, or you're just gonna forget about it, that lien stays on there. The lien never comes off until the village sends us a note that says everything's great now and it's all been paid. So then you'll see that person's deed and their mortgage, the lien, and then a release of that lien. It's all in the chain of title. So it's really, really, really important to double check on these liens. People have absolutely no idea that they've been recorded on their property, and it's horrible when they try to figure it all out.
So I know most of us here know what a lien is, and I think because we're so used to using these words that we don't remember that there are people who may not. So for those watching or for those here, a lien is basically a piece of paper that can be recorded against you or against your property, and it puts a hold basically on you or your property. And like Mary Ellen said, you're not able to sell your home, you may not be able to take out a mortgage because that lien pops up. So it's like placing it on hold. And the problem is when you go to buy a new house or you go to sell your house, a title company will come in and run a search to make sure it's clean title. The first thing they look for is liens. And if there is a lien or a hold on your property, you no longer have clean title. And until you figure that out, you're not going to be able to sell your property or get a new mortgage or refinance. So, at that point, you're in the midst of trying to sell or move or clear up your banking, and you're stuck with this. So you never want to wait until that minute to get that surprise. I'm also going to say that we have this wonderful tool in our office called Property Check. So you are more than welcome to call us, because we have some of the friendliest, and I don't say this because I work there, I say this because it's true, some of the friendliest and most helpful staff in the county, if not the state of Illinois. You can call them, they will walk you through it, they will look it up, they will look up your name and your property for you, or you can sign up for this new program we have, which is called Property Check. We've had it a couple of years now, and it's a wonderful tool to fight against identity theft and mortgage fraud. You can go to our website, you pull up or you look for Property Check, and you enter your name, your information, your property information. You enter either your cell phone number or an email address, and then any time a document is recorded against your name or your property, you will receive either a text message or an email. So if someone recorded a lien against you that you didn't know about, but you were smart enough to sign up for Property Check, you're going to get a text message or an email saying, hey, something happened to your property. Call the recorder's office and ask us what happened. So then you call us and then we find out. But there's no delay. There's 24 hours after something gets recorded, you're going to get notified. Not necessarily what document was recorded, but that something happened. And then you immediately have the opportunity to follow up and find out what it is. We strongly recommend people sign up for this because, like Mary Ellen mentioned, people can record things against you or your property that you may not be aware of. And if you wait until the last minute when you're stressed out or under, some sort of duress of some sort, whether it's a physical issue or trying to sell your property, you're not going to be in the right state of mind to look through all that. Sign up for property check, and as soon as something happens, you're going to get notified about it. So please check our website. It's a great tool. It's free. The thing I would recommend is that when you do sign up for it, when you enter your name, if you have different variations of your name, for instance, I'm Cynthia, but I'm also Cindy. I'm Cynthia Pruim. I'm Cynthia-Haran. So I would enter all of those different ways that someone could use my name on a piece of paper. That way, if someone does, I would get notified if something happens. So I strongly recommend you do that.
And I would just add that we never, ever, ever sell or give away any of that information. Some people are leery sometimes about signing up for things or offering their phone number for a text message or this or that because it'll be forwarded on to some other company. We never, ever, ever do that, ever. So please sign up for that program.
We actually, when all of the Equifax issues were going around a few months ago, I had a gentleman call our office, and he was incredibly upset because he had received an email from our office saying something was recorded against him. And he was adamant that he had never signed up for property check. He didn't know anything about it. He never would have signed up for it. How dare we sign him up for this? And he was, he was very triggered by all of the information that had been sold and breached through Equifax. And we took him out. We tracked it down. His wife signed him up for it. And we did ask him, I'm like, are you sure someone didn't sign you up for that? But, it happens. And I know I signed my husband's stuff, up for stuff too that he may not know about. But so we did take him out. And obviously, if someone signs up for something, we're more than happy to remove that. But it is hard in this day and age to know what to trust and what not to trust and what information to put out there. But I can tell you, this service is there to protect you. So I strongly recommend you look into that.
So you were mentioning how liens can be placed. I know the village can place liens if things aren't paid, but it's probably more common, say somebody does slide in your house, pay that person, that they file a lien against your house.
Oh, it happens all the time. You're going to get your garage painted, and you pick the painter, and you pick the color, and you get the contract, and you've decided on the amount that you're going to pay, and he goes to work, and he paints your house, and you come home, and it's not the color you agreed to, it was a sloppy job, you're really unhappy, so you stop the check. Well, he still wants his money. So he has every right to file a lien, and there you go. Then you're fighting about that for a year or two. And it could have been your fault too. Maybe you thought you were getting the right color. It's not always the contractor, but it happens all the time. Something
to always be aware of.
It is.
And you mentioned about the emails you can get. Do they have to put anything in their computer to say that this isn't junk email? Is there a certain address?
I would think you should. Anytime you don't want something to go into your spam folder, you can register it that way. But I haven't heard that happened.
No, that's interesting.
No.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and check now.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said anything.
And I did want to add, I know we mentioned the word lien release, and Mary Ellen talked about it a bit. The only way in the recorder's world or in the title world to make sure that lien doesn't exist anymore against you, because it's always going to physically exist, it will always be there, but you have to get a release recorded. So if you paid your bill with the village, they're going to have a piece of paper called a lien release saying that you paid that bill. And that piece of paper would get recorded in our office, and like Mary Ellen said, that's what shows that issue has been resolved. So when a title company goes back in and looks, they see a lien. If they don't see a release recorded, that hold is still there. If they go in and they see a lien and then they see a corresponding release, they know that that's been taken care of. So the records in our office remain there forever. You're always going to have that piece of paper showing there was a lien against you, for as long as the office is open. We cannot just remove things from our records. So it's really important that you get those releases filed to show that something's been taken care of, because we just don't delete things out of the system. And you always, once you find there's a lien against you from whomever put it on there, make sure when it's resolved, you get that piece of paper and you record it. Whether it's, your mortgage company will typically file a release of a mortgage, but always follow up with them as well.
Always good advice.
Can I just jump in on one other thing before you ask another question? Cynthia reminded me that, you know, we have, in our library of documents, we have about 7 million documents in the recorder's office. Every single one of those is public information. You can come in and look at it, you can call us, but people sometimes think that they still have to FOIA things, and so they'll fill out the whole FOIA form and, you know, they'll submit it to us, but I just want folks to know that anytime we get a FOIA, we call you immediately and say, you really don't have to FOIA this. If we could just tear this up or send it back, we'd be happy to send you whatever it is that you need. So, and it's really a fine balance, because we really try to protect all these documents as well. You know, every document, or most of those documents, has your signature on it, it has your address. Back in the day, it used to have your social security number. Those have all been redacted. If you pulled it up on the screen, you'd see a big black box that does not have your social security number in there anymore. But there's a lot of information in these documents, and people just, you know, there's mortgage fraud and identity theft, and a lot of folks think that the recorder's office is a trigger and a key to that. So we really, really do try to take extra steps that we're not required to by law. When you walk into our office, there's cameras right on you, just in case, and we really pay attention to a lot of that. So.
And we appreciate that.
But there's no need to FOIA. Everything is public information, and we're happy to get it for you and happy to share it with you.
Well, thank you so much, because you've gone through all of our questions. As we knew you would, because you're both so knowledgeable. It's so appreciated. I think one of the things with the liens, and I remembered this from the last time you were here, it is important to stress that your office files liens. You don't look at them and determine what is actually
What's inside of them.
Right.
You wanted to-
I would love to touch on that. Thank you.
You're good at that one.
I think it's a fallacy, a misunderstanding of what the recorder's office is or does, is that when we get a document and we record it, it makes it legal. That it gives it legal standing, that it makes it real, that it gives it weight, that if you don't come in and get it recorded, it really doesn't matter. And that is not what we're there for. We are literally there to keep the records. We are there to take that piece of paper, give it a document number, and make it part of the public record. It doesn't give it legal validity, so if you come in and file a lien against someone, yes, it's going to make that person have to jump through hoops, but us recording it doesn't say this is real, that this is true. It does not do that at all, and it's very confusing, even for lawyers sometimes, to think that that's not what we do. And as part of that, part of our duties does not involve reading through documents to make sure they're accurate or that they're true, or that, you know, we have things that we have to have in documents, certain signatures, notarizations, dates, legal addresses, legal descriptions. There are certain things that must be contained in certain documents in order for us to record them, but we are not there, and nobody in our office is there to give any validity to the content of the document, if that makes sense. And it's very frustrating for people who come in and don't understand that. But so when someone comes in with a lien, we are not going to ask them, are you sure he didn't pay this, or are you sure, or did a judge sign this for you? You know, there's some documents, like a judgment, that have to be signed by a judge. A lien doesn't. So it's hard for our staff sometimes when someone comes in very upset saying, but that's not true, I paid that bill. We're not there, that's not our role. That's the role of the court system, which is very different. Our role is just to make it part of the public record.
Can I just add a little commercial for the recorder's office? Because this just dawned on me too while Cynthia was talking.
You have 30 seconds.
I think one of the things that we're most proud of, especially working with customers and folks like that, is when you call our office, the telephone is answered by a real live human being. There's no buttons to push, there's no menus to check. So you can reach us really by telephone is the absolute easiest and fast way to do it. But on the website, you can email us, you can go right to our website and click on all the different things that you might need. But we really spend, I think, 80% of our day just helping folks all day long through all the documents, making sure everything is properly filled out, getting it all recorded, getting you a copy of what you might need. So we just decided long ago that we were going to do this as easily as possible, and that's just us answering the telephones. So please feel free to call us, and every phone call is answered. But go to the website too. We have a great website.
I just wanted to spin off of what Mel said, because so I've been in the office, it's probably closer to 5 years now, and I am very honored to work for Mary Ellen. And it truly is, I've worked in the hotel industry, I've worked at the public defender's office, so I've kind of, had a few different jobs in my life. But it's wonderful to come into our office because you will find information there not only about the Recorder of Deeds office. Mary Ellen published, along with the Veterans Commission, a brochure that we have for you who are here today, listing all the services you can get in Lake County if you're a veteran. Not just the services we have in our office, but the services throughout Lake County. That's on our website. We have a senior citizens brochure that lists so many of the services for senior citizens throughout the county. Again, not just services in the Recorder of Deeds office, but for senior citizens throughout the county. That's on our website as well. So I think one of the most wonderful things about our office is that we are there to help in as many ways as possible. And whether it's helping someone work through paperwork or pointing them in the right direction where they need to get help, our staff is able, willing, and more than happy to point people and to get them where they need to go to get help.
It's funny, we have a staff of, 27, I think. We added up collectively how many years they have served in the recorder's office, and I think it was 157 years. So they really know what they're doing, and they've been there a long, long time. And thankfully, they still really love their job and they love dealing with the public. So give us a call or come in. And the coffee pot is always on. We always have coffee, except today.
We had a mishap, but it happens.
Okay, we have one last question. Mayor Hill, can you talk about how the village is addressing vacant homes, foreclosures, and abandoned properties?
Well, as we know, Illinois got hit very hard with the foreclosures. I'm not sure if that's also filed through your office. Round Lake Beach was especially hit hard. We had a housing boom back in the 80s and 90s, and then when that kind of subsided and people got in their houses, a lot of people were kind of underwater when the Depression hit, recession back in 2006, 2007, 2008, and a lot of people lost their homes. We had a lot of vacant houses come around. Over the years, we've done several different things. We've been trying to buy some houses and tear them down. We've been using different grants for that, which has been very great for us, state and federal grants. A couple notes on those here. We also have a vacant property registry which we started to help us identify which houses are actually vacant. We have a company that will go out and get a hold of the banks and the mortgage companies that actually own the houses once people walk away from them. So we know who we can go to if there's a problem of, say, there's a graffiti on the house, on the garage, or in the house itself, if the grass isn't cut. Trying to get a hold of a mortgage company for us is really difficult. They own a house here, a house there, trying to find out who actually owns it. So that's helped out quite a bit. On abandoned homes themselves, so we actually have acquired and demolished nearly 35 homes in the last 3 years, using grant funding mostly for that. And when you take a house like that out of a neighborhood, it brings the whole neighborhood down. Once you take it out, you make a nice green area. Wow, what a difference! And you can see it just driving through town here. A lot of that was due to our Lisa. She's our community economic development person here, and she does a great job. She brought a lot of the information to us. We also have the rehab and resale of vacant homes, where we've worked with the Affordable Housing Corp of Lake County in order to acquire 8 vacant properties that were rehabbed and resold. We started this years ago by ourselves. We called it the HARP program back then, and we bought them ourselves, but it was a lot of work, and we found a not-for-profit that worked with us, and it's a lot easier to use than them than to do it ourselves. We're also securing vacant lots in strategic areas where there might be vacant lots here, vacant lots there that we can put together later on, or that we can split between houses along the side there. So we have some pretty small lots in Lake Beach. A lot of them are only 40 foot wide, 5,000 square feet. Some of the newer areas are 7,000 to 8,000 square feet, which is much preferred. So the more we can take a 40-foot lot, give 20 feet here, 20 feet there, all the better. Let's see, we've also leveraged some of the resources, expanded the housing goals by practically seeking grant funding to public-private partnerships. We received $675,000 in grant funds from the Illinois Housing Development Authority in the last 3 years. We also have a $200,000 line of credit through the State Bank of the Lakes, which we use to actually buy the homes up front if we need to. The strong partnerships with the Affordable Housing Corp. and Lake County Fuller Center for Housing and Emergency Lake County Land Bank position the villages to pursue additional opportunities in the future as they arise. We've also been much more proactive on our code enforcement than we used to be. We used to take like 10% of the village every year and really go through and check the area thoroughly. Now we're doing virtually 100% of the village every year on code inspection. You know, not in depth detail, but getting a decent look to make sure you don't have any major issues. People are always gonna have minor issues. That's just part of having a house, you know, we all know that. But more of the major issues, yeah, we're not waiting till all the neighbors start screaming and yelling. We're trying to be proactive about that and address it in advance. So that's why we have some of our liens.
We have definitely seen the numbers go down for the foreclosures. Everybody's worked very, very hard, but our number is all of Lake County, so it's different in the different villages and the different cities that were most heavily hit. But generally, those numbers have really gone down with a lot of work from a lot of people, which is terrific.
Anything else you'd like to add about, I know you mentioned about updating your computer systems and getting in the 21st, 22nd, 23rd century, whatever we're going into now?
Well, we talked about property check, and again, let me push that and say, please sign up for that. But we do also offer e-recording, and I know you mentioned that the village uses that. The e-recording system, however, is really geared more toward bigger companies that record a lot in bulk, mortgage companies, law firms, villages. I know occasionally we'll get a resident call and say, can I email you a document because I see you have e-recording? And I understand that. But it really is geared toward the bigger companies, or at least companies that are doing a lot of recording. You would sign up through our e-recording partner, because there is a safe way that kind of checks to make sure the documents are correct and that there's no glaring errors or illegalities in them. So you would sign up through one of the e-recording partners, and the document gets funneled through them to us. So it's a little, outside of the realm of just the casual resident user, but it is something we have been working on. It is picking up a lot of speed. A lot of companies are using it. It does make their lives, and I'm sure the village's lives, a lot easier to use that process, for sure. We've also, in the last few years, switched and included MyDeck, which is an electronic filing system for property tax paperwork, the P-tax forms. So when you buy or sell a house, there are real estate taxes, property taxes involved, and there's now a system through the state of Illinois where those can be filed electronically rather than on paper. So there's a lot of changes going on in our office. We're always working with our computer people to update and to make sure things are right where they should be. You'll notice when you go to our website, and this is something we've kind of brushed on, when you go to our website, you'll notice there are fees to log on and do searches. And you've also heard us say that our information is public information. And the first question we usually get is, if it's public information, how come you're charging me to go on and search? The first thing we will say is, you can always come to our office or call, and there's no fee to search in our office, or there's no fee to call and talk to our staff. The reason there's a fee to log on and search from home is we're really trying to protect people's information. We're hoping that that bad guy sitting there trying to just steal your information is a little more reluctant to charge to do it, and that way we can track who does it, rather than just opening up and saying, go ahead, America, sift through all the records. So that's the idea behind it. We hope that it really dissuades people from doing that, using the information for things they shouldn't. If it's something you really need, we're more than happy to help you with that.
And I would just add that really do go to our website, because everything is there, and all the pamphlets and brochures and everything is there, and all of the packets that need to be filled out are also in English and in Spanish. Everything is in English and in Spanish, and we're really proud of that. So we will plug that website all the time, although we still like you to come in and visit with us.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We think we have a little time here for some questions. Nancy, would you mind taking the microphone around? And anyone have any questions?
You had said that we should get a deed. How long after we sell a piece of property or buy a piece of property will it take to get the deed recorded that we can get a copy of it?
As soon as it comes to our office, it's recorded. So whether the title company brings it in, or you bring it in, or your attorney brings it in, the second they come into the office, it is instantly recorded, it's given a number, and it's in the system. So from that second on, we can give you a copy of it. If you walk it in, we can certainly stamp it and give you a copy as you leave. We still need to keep the original to process it and let it go through all the different systems, and then it'll be mailed back to you. But if you don't want to wait for that, you can get a copy right away that day. But the moment we get it, it is in the system, and that's the beauty of that.
Usually the title company gets that within a few days or a week.
You know,
or a
I hate
month.
to give a title company a bad rap because they're our colleagues and our friends, but sometimes when you close on your home, they just wait for a few more before they bring them all over to our office. So you could close on a Monday, but your document might not even get to us until the following Monday, just because they're not going to come in every single day. They're going to wait until they have a big stack and bring it all in. So I'm not jumping on them because that's just the way they do it. But sometimes it takes a while for us to get it, but the second that we get it, we can get it for you. No problem.
Okay, I have one more question. You're talking about Lake County. Do you know if the other counties follow the same suit that you do as far as?
Nobody's as good as Lake County. Absolutely not. You know what? I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Thank you.
Any other?
My question.
I had a question concerning the DD 214, since I have a colleague over here who has not had his recorded. Can you explain the advantages of recording a DD 214 rather than just keeping a copy for yourself and
Well, you're going to lose that copy, or it's going to get ripped or torn, or you're going to have there's going to be a fire, or something's going to happen. You've got to record the DD 214. It keeps it forever and ever and ever. And anytime you misplace the original or get it torn, you should see my father's. It's in little pieces like this. But you can come in instantly and get a certified copy of that DD 214. We'll give you as many as you need to send to all the different folks that you need to get the different benefits that you're entitled to.
well, I wanted definitely my commander to hear that, who stepped out. He must be going to get
for
it.
Pete's
He must be
sake.
going to get it recorded right now. But I also know that, as you mentioned, then
Because you're not going to, he's not going to be able to get another copy of that if it's lost or
and the
stolen or
original,
ruined.
I'm not sure what kind of paper the original is on,
It
but I
very
just
flimsy.
very flimsy. I
Very
just pulled mine out, and it's not even legible anymore. But I have had mine recorded.
I'm not kidding, they turn brown.
The printing disappears. It was typewritten. It was quite a long
Yes,
time ago.
yes.
So mine was typed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
excellent. We'll make
No,
sure
we
he gets
really
it done.
encourage that. And the recording of that document is free. And then when you come in at a later date to get a copy of that document, it's free. Anything is free for a veteran.
Well, thank you for coming tonight. I run the investigations division, and we plan on doing some training for seniors. And I'm a little weak on quick claim deed fraud that targets seniors. Can you briefly talk about that? And is it prevalent? And it's something we should be passing along to the seniors in the area.
A quitclaim deed is the easiest way to transfer property. And I'd be more than happy to sit down, if you'd like, to go through it with you separately. But it really can target anybody. Seniors, I know, are a population that does get targeted a lot, but truly a quitclaim deed, it's a piece of paper that says, I, Cindy, am giving my property to you, Bill. Here, Bill, sign it, Cindy, sign it. Oh, you please notarize that we both signed it, and that's it, it's done. There are, quitclaim deed forms on the internet. We have quitclaim deed forms in our office. It's just the simplest, fastest, least stressful way to get a property to change hands. And because there aren't a lot of safeguards in it, people do use it for purposes they shouldn't. But I'd be more than happy to sit down and go through more of that with you. But it is something that is very convenient, it's very quick, it's easy to do, but with that comes less safeguards. So anyone should watch out for a quick claim deed.
But if I could jump on that real quick, because it is so easy to do that, I think almost 10 years ago now, the moment a quick claim deed is recorded in our office, that very next morning, a postcard goes out to the person who owned that home. And the postcard says, yesterday we got a quick claim deed, we recorded a quick claim deed, did you do this? And first of all, you'd be surprised at the people that call and say, I did not do this. Who did this? And then we'll look at it and we'll say, well, did you put your home in a trust? I sure did. And even if it goes into a trust, anything that is done with a quick claim deed, a postcard gets mailed the very next day to say, did you really do this? Because it's a vehicle that is so easily used to cheat. It's terrible. But you know, on the good side of it, it's how family members transfer property. It's an easy way to do it. Usually it's done if there's no money involved. So it's a great tool for not having to go to an attorney or go to a title company and do any of that. But it's a piece of paper that can easily be mishandled, that's for sure.
That's actually called a quit claim.
Yes, it's so hard.
It may be
Quit.
quick claim,
Right.
that makes more sense, but it's called quit,
Quit.
Q-U-I-T.
Yeah.
Okay, one last
But
question.
thank you.
Recognizing the fact that no one is as efficient as you are, anyone in any county can get the deed to their property in the state of Illinois. Is that correct?
In any county, in the county you live, yes, you should be able to go to your recorder's office or
Right.
their website and get a copy
So
of your deed.
to the person who's representing both Lake and Cook counties.
Right.
I can tell everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Great point. Yes.
Any other questions? So I can,
Do we see a lot of frivolous liens or people coming in and filing liens that really aren't necessarily true? You know, I don't hear a lot of complaints about them in our office. They do come up occasionally. I don't know whatever happens to them. I don't know if they're ever proven to be frivolous or not. But I have to say, I don't hear a lot of that, no.
And I would just also add that, you know, when we are made aware of that, it goes right to the state's attorney's office. So Mike Neerheim and his office handle all those different scenarios, and so we don't really get a lot of feedback on that afterwards. But I don't know of too many at all, to be honest with you. You know, there's a lot of checks and balances. Some we don't even want to tell because they're the secrets that make everything work. So there hasn't been too much fraud at all.
it's good news.
It is good news. It is good news.
Any other questions?
You had mentioned earlier being able to have a deed emailed to you. So if I called you and said, can I get a copy of my mortgage deed, you would just email that to me?
We would. There are copy fees in place. We do charge $1 a page for copies, but we can email those copies to you, yes. Yep.
It's really the easiest way to do it. If you do need a copy of your deed and you're willing for us to just email it to you, that's great. Takes 2 seconds and you get it and you don't have to wait for the mail to come and all of that. We're happy to do that, sure.
Now, if Lisa doesn't pay that $1, you guys file a lien on her property.
No.
Not for Lisa.
Any other questions? Well, thank you all for being here tonight. It's a nice, warm January evening. Appreciate you all coming out. And great to have you both back again.
Thank you so
last
much,
time, I
everybody.
think I forgot to bring my pins with me this time. I forgot. Oh, there they are. Oh.
We get a gift.
Try to give all of our guests a
Oh,
pin from the
thank
Village of Round Lake
you.
Beach.
Oh, how nice.
Thank you
And
very
again,
much.
thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Cynthia.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for having
everybody.
us.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to
Please
seeing you all.
stop by the recorder's office. Thank you.